Okay, can Ted feed 5,000? Can Ted multiply fishes and loaves? Ted has tried that too. And no, Ted cannot multiply fishes, and Ted cannot multiply loaves, and Ted cannot multiply any food. Therefore, Ted keeps asking out spiritually, how did that happen? That people believe that fishes and loaves were actually multiplied, and Ted keeps getting told all the food was gathered up, and they, some brought more than enough, some brought some for many, and they gathered all up and they redistributed it, and all these lunches basically were redistributed, and there was enough. That's what Ted was, or has been told out spiritually for that, because Ted cannot multiply food. Ted is only a human. Ted is flesh and bone and 100% human, and can't multiply any food and turn or make this much food into that much food, or this much food into enough to feed 5,000. Therefore, the multiplying of the fishes and loaves was an inaccuracy in how that was reported. Can Ted change the weather? Ted has tried that also, and no, Ted cannot control or change the weather. Ted is only a 100% human man, and is like any other 100% human in that Ted cannot actually change or control weather. Jesus cannot change or control weather, and Ted is Jesus. Jesus basically believed at the time Jesus could, and there were some coincidences that happened. That's what Ted keeps getting told about spiritually. And when this first started happening, Ted believed he could control weather, and Ted tried while on the sailboat to control weather, but the weather wouldn't change. Ted kept trying, and it wouldn't change, except a few times it did change. And a few times Ted asked, before Ted understood who he was, he was still thinking he was the Son of God or another God, and God was up in heaven and he was being deceived. He asked God to show him some light or something. All of a sudden, light would start shining on the sailboat. The clouds would part and light would shine, or light would shine through portholes onto Ted. And Ted, would think, God did that. The Father did that. The Heavenly Father did that. Just like that. It was a coincidence. And later Ted understood it was a coincidence. There were certain times when it was just simply a coincidence. And Jesus did not and was not able to control weather, was a human man. Ted cannot control weather, and God, when a spiritual living thing, and the host, and Satan, the demons, none of them can control the weather. Absolutely cannot control the weather. That's the 1% truth, and that is why all these disasters happen, and this bad weather happens, and some wonder why would God do this? God is not doing that. God is not causing all this bad weather. And the flood was a melting of the polar ice caps with a change in the orbit of world Earth, Ted keeps getting told, and was something that happened, and God did not intentionally do that. That's another long story.